disassembly on a bathroom sink. This is the piece that pops up when you want to let the water out, or goes down to stop up the water in the sink. So let's get started. This piece here is the piece that's broken. Down in there, it is broken off, it's rusted off. That's where it goes up through the sink. This rod goes through this nut and connects to the pop-up piece. As you take this nut off, you can see that the shaft that goes into the drain has rusted off. It's broken off here. So I'm going to take the P-trap apart. This usually comes apart by hand if it's plastic. If it's metal, you might have a little more trouble getting this apart. Just use a wrench and it should come apart pretty easy. This nut needs to come off, but before you can get that off, you have to take this off. To get that off, you gotta take this off. This piece should just unscrew. And then once you have this piece off, the nut up above should unscrew as well. Take the washer off, peel the rubber gasket out. Sometimes this can be a little difficult. And then you simply push the drain up through the sink. You want to clean around that drain a little bit, make it seal better when you put the new piece back in. Now this piece just needs to pop right off. It's just a little tension spring there. You just push it right off the end. And then the next thing is a nut that's a little bit up higher than that. You just loosen that nut and it slides right off. Now the pop-up assembly that I bought actually has two pieces. It has the bottom piece for underneath, and then it has the trim kit. Now once I started putting this in, I realized that it was incredibly cheap. Plastic nuts, all the connections are plastic, and I would not recommend getting this type. They also make a metal base. It was a good bit more, that's why I didn't get it. But for the longevity of this piece, I would definitely recommend going with the metal piece. Unscrew the nut all the way down. You'll do this for metal or plastic. Pull the that washer down. These threads and the threads on top all need to be coated with pipe sealant. You can use either the liquid sealant or paste that I'm using here, or you can use Teflon tape. Either one of those will work just fine. Next, you want to get some plumber's putty, and then you're going to form a snake with it. And then that snake is going to wrap right along the inside lip of the top piece of the drain. Then you're going to take the bottom piece, push it up through the bottom of the basin, and on the top side you're going to screw the trim piece down onto it. On the bottom side we're going to kind of pull down on it to kind of set that seal up top, and then just tighten up the nut. Now this is the part where I ran into some trouble with this. Generally you want this to be really nice and tight. As I tightened this, even just really strong hand tight, it started to pop the threads in the top. And so that's the primary reason that I would recommend getting the metal drain. The putty will start squeezing out like this. You can take your fingers and kind of peel around it. I usually get like a screwdriver, something like that, and just kind of scrape along the edge just to peel it out. If your sink is one that would scratch easily, obviously you don't want to scratch around it with a metal piece. Now with this type of pop-up assembly, you can put this piece in first and then put the nut on, tighten it down. Some of them you need to put the pop-up piece down at the same time and then slide this through the opening to make sure that it connects to it so it doesn't just pull out. This one actually has a little slot that it turns into. If you take a look at this slot here, this will just slide over the shaft that's now in the drain and then twist to connect. Also makes it pretty easy to pull it out and clean it down the road. So this little rubber piece just snaps over the shaft of the lift system there, and it has kind of a flexible rubber piece on top that the lift rod will slide down into. Last step, reassemble the drain piece. Now I have an extension tube here that I'm tightening. Not all drains have that. If yours doesn't, then it's just going to have the P-trap that you're going to be connecting. And that's all there is to it. Check underneath for leaks, and you're all set.